Are there any teachers in this crowd? I want to say something to teachers that our lawmakers should have said a long time ago. Thank you. Thank you for keeping my children safe during the day. Thank you for drying their tears when they fall down and scrape their knee on the playground. Thank you for cheering for junior high basketball teams, for going up to your room on Sunday to get ready for my kid on Monday. Gracias por cuidarlos. As a dad, I thank you. Coaches, thank you for fixing little girls' softball swings and for showing our boys how to tie their ties. Thank you for getting our children safely home on the Yellow Dog after late ball games and contests and one-act plays. Thank you for buying all those raffle tickets and hams, pies and discount cards and Girl Scout cookies, insulated mugs and pumpkin rolls, for buying more playoff shirts than any one person could ever wear. And on top of all that, for spending your hard-earned money on pencils and prizes and supplies for your classroom. There are those poor, deluded souls who say you take more than you give, and I disagree with them with everything that I am. Don't let them get you down. They wouldn't last a day in your classroom. You are not a drain on this economy. You are a bubbling spring of tomorrow's prosperity. You're a fountain of opportunity for other people's children. As educational attainment goes up, crime, teen pregnancy, unemployment, prison rates, they all go down. Squalor and ignorance retreat from you. Social wounds begin to heal. Our state progresses. Our tomorrow brightens. What you do, teacher, is priceless. You don't create jobs. You create job creators. Some people don't understand why you do what you do. They think merit pay will make you work harder, as if you're holding back. They don't understand what motivates the teacher. They think the threat of being labeled unacceptable will inspire you to care about the quality of your instruction, as if the knowledge that you hold the future in your hands is not incentive enough. Maybe these sticks and carrots work for bad teachers, but they only demoralize the great ones, and there are thousands and thousands and thousands of great teachers in the state of Texas today. Some people have forgotten that great teachers actually exist. They spend so much time and effort weeding out the bad ones, they've forgotten to take care of the good ones. This bitter accountability pesticide is overspraying the weeds and wilting the entire garden. You stand on the front lines of poverty and plenty, on the front lines of our social stratification. You are the people who shove their fingers into gushing wounds of inequality that our leaders won't even talk about, and you aren't afraid. You're the last of the Good Samaritans, and you aren't afraid. Even as they condemn you for trying but failing to save every last kid in your classroom, you aren't afraid, and you keep trying, and you haven't faltered, and I thank you. You deserve to be saluted, not despised. You deserve to be acclaimed. You deserve so much more than the ugly scapegoating that privatizers peddle in the media and our halls of government. Teacher, bus driver, coach, lunch lady, custodian, maintenance man, business manager, aide, secretary, principal, and yes, even you superintendents out there trying to hold it all together. You serve your state with skill and honor and dignity, and I'm sorry that no one in power has the guts to say that these days. History will recognize that the epithets they applied to your schools said more about leaders who refused to confront child poverty than the teachers who tried valiantly to overcome it. History will recognize that teachers in these bleak years stood in desperate need of public policy help that never came. Advocacy for hurting children was ripped from our lips with a shush of no excuses. These hateful labels should be hung around the necks of those who have allowed inequitable school funding to persist for decades. These labels belong to those who refuse to tend to the basic needs of our poorest children so that they can come to school ready to learn, because we're ready to teach. They say 100,000 kids are on a waiting list for charter schools. Let me tell you about another waiting list. There are 5 million kids in Texas waiting for this legislature to keep our forefathers' promises. There are 5 million children, and 3 of them live with me, and they're all waiting for somebody in Austin, Texas to stand up for them and uphold the Constitution. There's a waiting list, all right, a waiting list of 5 million kids, and this government says they can just keep waiting. How long must they wait? If you support public schools, I want to tell you about a new website. Go to texaskidswaiting.com. Add your child's name to the public school waiting list, the list of kids waiting for this government to provide adequate school funding. texaskidswaiting.com. Our forefathers' promises must be kept. We want fair and adequate resources in our kids' schools. We don't want opportunity scholarships. We want opportunity. We want leaders who don't have to be dragged to court to do right by our kids. It's not okay to default on constitutional promises. It's not okay to neglect schools until they break, to deliberately undermine our public schools. These traditional institutions have honorably served their communities for generations. It's not okay to privatize a system that strong and generous people built and left to us. It's not okay for Austin to confiscate buildings built by local taxpayers and give them away to cronies and speculators. These buildings aren't just schools. They're touchstones. They're testaments to our local values. The Friday night lights that have illuminated our skies for decades, the school gyms that have echoed with play since the greatest generation was young, these aren't monuments to sports. They're monuments to community. They're beacons of our local control, of the togetherness we cherish in our hometowns and our city neighborhoods. We don't want education fads imposed on us by Austin, or even worse, out-of-state billionaires. What we want is simple, tried and true. We want what this state promised in 1876. And to those who want to take away that promise, I know some moms and some trustees, some local business people who will say what brave Texans have said before: come and take it. Just try to steal that promise of our Constitution. 2 years ago, I asked our state leaders to come to our aid. They responded by cutting school funding by billions. But help did come. It came from you. The people of Texas are the cavalry that will save Texas schools. And 2 years ago may have been the Alamo, but this year may well be our San Jacinto. I will end by saying this to the advocates who are bravely defending public education: thank you. And one more thing, do not go gently into that good night. Stand and fight and save our schools. Thank you.